People, welcome back to another John Sinclair TV. Back again tonight. It is the Newcastle Chelsea match preview show, and I've got guests on my channel tonight. I've got Ian, Simon, Chelsea fan, and also Paul as well. And good evening to you guys.
Evening, guys. Evening.
Great stuff, great stuff. I'll just go through the comments as well. If you like the video, like what you watch, make sure you like and subscribe. And also, super chats are open as well. And if you'd like to become a member, it's just 99p as well. Hi to Paul, like to say thank you for that, Paul. Big up to Anfield, Uncle Rods. I hope you're great. It ended a draw. Let's see how it pans out. That's CFC OG. Big up to Good Gathering as well. Hi to you, a big Guna as well. Ari for Ian, thank you very much. Leslie, hi to Les. Get your likes in. Thank you very much indeed. Even to Gary. And everyone saying hi to Mix Up as well. Join the channel for 99p. Super chats are available indeed. Thank you, Leslie. And Ian, and yes, he is indeed. So, yeah, let's go on so far as well. I'll start with you, Sam, because you're the guest. I mean, if you just give us your a little season so far for Chelsea Football Club, I mean, it's been like an indifferent start, but you're slightly picking up, scoring goals. Beat Tottenham your last game. Nicholas Jackson's on fire at the minute, scoring goals. In fact, he scored 8 goals in 2 games, and even 2 forced each against City.
Yeah, a typical Chelsea start to the season. I remember talking to you before the pre-season game with Newcastle, John, and as usual, everything that I thought we would do well, we've done badly, and everything we've done badly, we've done well. So we've created more chances than I thought we'd create. But of course, our conversion rate has been abysmal. I think the international break's come at a good time for you. It's come at a bad time for us. Okay, we've got some players back from injury, but all in all, disappointing because on paper we had a good start. But ironically, you put us in front of a good footballing side and we look like a good footballing side. Put us in front of a team who employ a low block, we look hopeless. That will obviously change over time. It's still early days. So, yeah, not quite where we'd expect to be, but the level of performances in the last couple of games have been right up there, I think.
Yeah. I mean, when Pochettino was appointed as your head coach, I mean, were you happy with him? Were you delighted in him coming in with Spurs links as well? Or the thing is, I heard people saying, if he doesn't get it right, he'd be gone, blah, blah, blah. But you've got to give Poch so much time. He's a talented manager, and he's always quite a young manager as well. And he's going to need a bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Graham Potter was a horrendous error. I think everyone can see that. Pochettino, if you look at what he did with that Tottenham side, got them to the Champions League final, and a lot of those kids have literally just fallen off a cliff since he's left. His record with young players is almost second to none. Is he the elite manager that the club eventually want to be able to take him to where they want to be? I don't know. I hope he is, but there's none of the Spurs stuff. I know the Chelsea Spurs thing it's a big deal. But if you cast your mind back many years to when Glenn Hoddle was appointed and when the club took off in '93, that didn't come up then. And I don't see any of it now. I think the club have learned a lesson in terms of sticking with the manager. They've got the squad now, apart from, you could argue, a couple of players. So all in all, I think most people are behind Pochettino now, particularly when we see him celebrating the Chelsea goal against Spurs and marching on to the pitch at the end of the Man City game, wanting to decapitate Anthony Taylor. So, you know, those things mean a lot to fans.
Yeah, fair enough. Paul, what are you laughing, man?
No, it's just saying that it's good solidarity with the Chelsea fans. It's good.
Well, fair enough. So yeah, just talk about Chelsea for a bit because we've got to play them as well. I mean, Paul, Chelsea won 4, drawn 4, lost 4. I mean, they scored 21 goals and conceded 22. We know that their defence are a bit leaky at the back as well. I mean, Rob Sanchez, the goalkeeper, came on all of Brighton. I mean, I think he could be got at because for me, I mean, he's a good shot stopper, but he makes mistakes in goal as well, for what I've seen of him.
Yeah, I mean, that was the maddest game of the season, wasn't it? The 4-4 with City was just it was one of the best games I've ever seen. It was just absolutely nuts. It showed some strengths of Chelsea and Man City and some weaknesses of both sides as well. But it was pure entertainment. It was brilliant. But it's one of those things that I'm sure that Eddie has looked at that and thought, obviously we don't want a 4-4, but we know we can get at the defence. Thank goodness, because we got some players back. Because if we didn't have certain players back, I'll be worried about what on earth we were going to do on Saturday with the squad we have. But luckily, players are coming back who can hurt Chelsea now. So Isaac coming back is such a big relief. Just having that pace in behind is going to be really helpful. Wilson obviously provides a different strength, but we've needed that. We've needed Isaac for a bit for some of the games. I wish we had him fit for Dortmund. He just suited those games more. But it is what it is. Miggy being fit is really helpful as well. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a really interesting game with Chelsea because, like we were saying, I think Poch is a really good manager. Again, with Abramovich gone, Chelsea are hopefully not going to be that club that just fire a manager for the smallest thing. It's worked for them. Can't moan at it because when he did it, it always seemed to work. They'd win a league or Champions League or whatever, and then he would fire someone after a couple of bad games. That manager would end up winning the trophy. So it didn't work. But again, speaking to Chelsea fans when I've met them at St James's, they'd be frustrated with that because they get to know a manager or like a manager or whatever, and then they're gone. And they feel themselves that it just feels this approach of like, there's no point in getting to know a manager because he'd be binned, because if he has like one half of a bad season, he's gone. Where Chelsea want to build a project and want to be a club that's, serious about trophies and stuff. So like you said, John and Simon, that you want to give Poch time because it shows like what he did with a Tottenham side that were, they were okay, but he brought on, people like Dele Alli and stuff to phenomenal levels. So having these young players under him is going to be beneficial for Chelsea, because if they want to be in Champions Leagues and in the title race with, Man City for now, we'll see. They might be relegated, all we know. But, so if they want to be serious, they've got to stick with that and let Poch do his job, because he's someone who, if Eddie Howe never came into Newcastle and we were looking for a manager, I would have loved Poch at Newcastle, just because, again, with that young talent, I think he'd be a decent job with Newcastle. So, yeah, I think you just need to give him time, because people are laughing and joking at Chelsea, but it's a project. It's a rebuild. They're literally rebuilding from the start again. They're not, some people, like pundits, were like, oh, Chelsea are going to be in the title race this season. I don't think any serious Chelsea fan believed that. They all knew that it was going to be a build. It was going to be a slow burn. And it possibly might even take another season to really put in Poch's style in players. So, and this is what good fans are. They understand that and will give time, just like we will with Eddie. So, that's what I hope for Chelsea comes in the future.
100%. Everything's spot on. You said, Paul, you're absolutely right. Go to some comments so we get Ian on, and keep those comments coming through. Thanks so much indeed. Hi to Kate. Jonathan, hope you're good. I'm afraid not, because Leslie's just said that I'm saving myself for the Paris game, and Shelley's got me ticket as well. And I hope you find this well. Good evening to Gareth from Cardiff. I hope you're good. And let's go on to Alan. Hi to Alan. Hope you're great. And hi to Andrew DB. I eat you a lot. And we've got one here from Ben Yam for Ethiopia. Big up to you. We'll bounce back, especially if 2 or 3 players are back from injury. I totally agree. You're absolutely right. And we need it. We need to get Isak back. He is absolutely key. And that's needs goals up front. And also as well, thanks for coming for Andrew DB as well. Ian, Chelsea has done £1 billion, right? And only gotten one striker, Nicholas Jackson. Yeah. Look, you got some good players at Chelsea, right? You got Castillo as well. I think he's quality in the CDM. And you got Conor Gallagher. I like him. He does press for the front as well. I think he's a really good young player as well. Thiago Silva, he's 39, 40 years old. He's still He's going really well at the back, you know what I mean? But the one I like at Chelsea is Reece James. I mean, and Raheem Sterling as well is back to his very, very best. Do you think, right, in your opinion, that Chelsea are good enough to hurt us?
I think that Chelsea have played a lot better, as Simon said, against teams that come at them. And primarily then that will be the teams where they've had to lift the game. So the likes of Man City's and, you know, the greedy six, the big six, the whatever six you want to call them, historical six, as I would like to call them now. I think they've got an excellent manager now in place, and I'm just jumping back to what everyone's just said before. He needs time. You know, there's so many players been brought in. It's so disjointed. There's been no cohesion at all at that club. So yes, there's been lots of trophies won, and I'm not being funny. I would love one of them trophies. Never mind all of them. You know, like let's be honest. Win a trophy the next season is a disaster, and then, or not a disaster, but you know, is slightly off boil, and then you get rid of a manager. There's no cohesion there. I hope that Poch gets that time for the Chelsea fans. Whether he will or not's another thing. Whether there's still an Abramovich influence in the background there, because I know that the current owner allegedly has quite a lot of business dealings with Abramovich. So whether he is actually gone or whether he's just lurking around like a James Bond baddie in the background, who knows? Waiting for the Ruskies to stop being naughty. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I'm not going to go on to politics and all that stuff because I know literally nothing about it. But that's just something I've heard off a few people that there are quite intertwined. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a good game. They usually are good games. I know the last game, the 1-0 game. To be fair, everyone, you know, like everyone slates Gallagher. When there was talk of Gallagher coming to us, everybody was saying that he was not that good. And Gallagher was one of the only Chelsea players on that day that stood up. Like he was, because I was in the Gallagher and I was watching him, and he was everywhere. And the other player in that game that played really, really well, funnily enough, was Lewis Hall, who now we've got, you know. But I've always thought Gallagher, you know, the one thing he does, he tries and he puts the shift in, and that's something that maybe, you know, and I don't watch Chelsea week in, week out, so you know, you can correct me on if I'm wrong on this, Simon, but that's something that I maybe think that in this current team has been lacking a little bit of effort and, like, you know, like graft and teamwork, which is what, you know, we are built on now. If you actually look across the players and certainly the bench that you've got for the weekend, you know, like if you look at our bench and look at your bench, there isn't a comparison because we haven't got that squad depth that Chelsea and a lot of other teams have got still. But yeah, I think it'll be a good game. If Isak's fit, I want him to play, but I've just got questions in my head about, do we chuck him in and he gets injured and then he's out for 3 or 4 months? Does that happen? You know, is it worth us having to scrap a draw? You know, like, you know, obviously I don't want to draw. I want to win the game. It's going to be a hard game, and there's nothing. You know, we are hard to beat at home. But I just think I hope that we don't chuck him in and do a cabbage head and just chuck him in if he's 80% fit. And then he's out for another 2 months, because if we do that, that really does mess our season up. And I've done very well there, not swearing once, John. Just pointing that out.
Keep it up, Hey! Keep it up, my guy. Keep it up. You're doing well. You could be exactly. And got Leslie. Good. Thanks for that, Ian. Man, good stats there. Gallagher's stats are better than Declan Rice. So far, there's that one coming. Neely. Hi to Steph. Hope you're good, and I'd love to hear from you as well. She's only young, and she is always working on my channel as well, because I keep asking Steph to come on my channel, and we're not going to work at it as well. And we got Gary B. Question for you, Simon. A lot of people seem to think Chelsea are on balance. Do you agree on this question?
They're becoming more balanced by the week. This is a work in progress, and yeah, there's been £1 billion spent. Don't forget, there's been £250 million actually gone out the door, and a lot of those players were the players that you referred to about the game last season up in your neck of the woods, guys, which for me was the turning point when everything fell apart, because the team, apart from Gallagher, looked completely disinterested. Compare it to last week. 2 weeks ago, we came back 3 times behind against Man City and showed heart and passion. What you're referring to, that's starting to come back into the team now, and that's what fans want to see. The team, for me, we still haven't seen. You're talking about Isak, and I agree with you. He's the one danger man. The player that I talked to you about pre-season, John, hasn't kicked a ball in anger for Chelsea yet, and that's Nkunku.
Yeah,
quality player. He's not kicked a ball for us. He's supposed to be back at the weekend. Again, for me, I'd put him on the bench and bring him on. We haven't got the European commitments that you guys have got. So I think Isak's a little more high risk. And Nkunku, maybe not. But I think we're missing a goal scorer. Sanchez, I'm not sure about. I think you've got probably England's best goalkeeper. But the team, if it's free of injury, Reece James, Cucurella, we've got 4 quality centre-backs. We've got Lavia hasn't kicked a ball for Chelsea yet. We've got a lot of options there. And a lot of it is very similar to what I think Eddie Howe's done at Newcastle. Look what he's done with Almiron. Different player, isn't he? Look at Cucurella, looks like the player he was at Brighton. And as for Cole Palmer, I don't know what Pochettino's doing with him, but the kid looks unbelievable. Yeah, so I don't think the team is imbalanced. I think it needs settling. We need players back from injury. They need game time. And bizarrely, these run of games, including the Newcastle game, was going to be a disaster for us, and we're in the bottom 3. But actually, Tottenham and Man City have both been very hard games, but games that they've actually performed well in. I expect the same on Saturday. Wouldn't say expect to win, but I think it'll be a cracking game. But unbalanced, no, I wouldn't say so. As these players come back, John.
Yeah.
Would you have said that you were unbalanced 3 or 4 games ago?
Yeah, we looked unbalanced. I think that's a good point. Part of that is because, again, we've got players coming back. We've got players who have come into the team after the start of the season. They've had no pre-season. I think it's a valid point. You can't expect players just to pitch up and then understand the team structure, how the team wants to play. The manager doesn't really do that. And I think you're right. But each game, you can start to progressively see, in most games, shall we say, a big improvement. And not having European football, I think, is actually a big advantage. I mentioned that again to you, John, pre-season. Yeah. And I think I said we may finish 6th. I'd be very happy with 6 from now. But I think it's a valid point. It has looked disjointed. It's looking less disjointed.
Yeah, at the minute. I think you're getting better now, Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? I think you got the side together. Excuse me. You put it together. You're scoring goals and you're attacking more as well. But I still think Rob Sanchez is your problem in goals, because I don't think he's a good shot stopper. I don't think he's that good. I think you need a world-class goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Either in January or in the summer. For me, if you've got a world-class keeper for Chelsea, go out there and get Douglas Costa from Porto. That keeper is fantastic. But he's got a $75 million release clause as well.
Yeah. They're hard to come by. I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you guys, but myself and a lot of my mates, when we do talk football, have always rated Pope. And even though you lost that game at Bournemouth, it could have been an embarrassment if it wasn't for him. I mean, the guy, how he's not England's number 1, I don't know. I just think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. And the period that you talked about, Abramovich and et cetera, one of the key protagonists was Petr Cech. Cech goes, Courtois comes in. You know, that is those guys. I mean, goalkeepers were so undervalued back then, but you don't win anything unless you've got a top goalkeeper.
The game's changed now, though, on it, Simon, and now it's a goalkeeper being able to actually kick a ball is as important as saving the ball. And to be honest, I can see the merits, obviously, when you look at the footballing goalkeepers, but still, Pope, I think, is second to none shot stopping. He pulls out great plays for us. Yeah. And he certainly has gained us a lot more points than his lack of footballing nous, let's say, or ability has lost us. He does kick the ball into the stand quite a lot. Like he's peppered the east stand.
The thing is, though, he started cutting. The thing is, though, he cannot kick straight. That's his problem. That is his problem. You cannot kick the ball straight.
No, I agree.
And I'm going to be honest. I have to be honest there. And I watched, especially away games where I've been, he has not kicked the ball straight, and that's the problem. Great shot stopper.
Do you think that sometimes tactically he's putting the ball out of play?
He just can't get the ball straight.
Definitely.
I mean, it could be that, but for great keepers, you have to have the lot. I mean, you have to kick the ball straight, you have to kick the ball into the pitch. But unfortunately, if you keep kicking out all the time, and I'm sorry to say this, it's not being negative, it's just being factual there. But if it goes out of play, then
that might be a very valid point. Maybe he's been given instruction. If you're not sure, put it into touch. We were beating Arsenal 2-0 comfortably, and Sanchez passes it to Declan Rice. Literally, it's a fantastic pass, and it's 2-1. That's so for me, I'd rather see Sanchez put it into touch. If that's what Eddie Howe's told him to do, that's clever coaching.
Yeah, could be. So your defense can regroup when he does that. So you could be right. You could be right, mate. Could be right. Thank you, Flan. Thanks, Stephanie. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, on swearing. Big up Paul for his donation to the food bank. That's from Leslie. And hiding the pun.
That's Ian's good behaviour.
Yeah.
I can be called Polo.
Yeah. I get it, man. Going to be a toughie from Steph. You're absolutely right, Stephanie. Hi to Gary D. I hope you're all right, mate, and having a good day. Pope has saved us. He has. I mean, he's been against Bournemouth. Despite we got beat, we did. I think he's man of the match for me. Hi to AG. Hi to you. I think a few weeks ago we would batter Chelsea, but most of our team out. Not so sure. And that's an AG. And I think everyone's on the same. I think we're on the same boat as well. According to Leslie, that's how we all feel as well. So why cannot Shard take the goal kicks if that's such a problem? Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point. Fair shout. The problem for Poch is to create the spirit created by Eddie in Newcastle. A lot of players with some of players' attitude in question. Simon, what do I say about that? A lot of players with some players' attitude in question.
Yeah, that's why we sold £250 million worth of players in the summer. Those are the players, the big-time Charlies who showed up at St James's Park last season and down tools. Those players are the players that no longer play for Chelsea Football Club. Yeah. And I, for one, applaud it. You know, I'm unfortunately being old. I remember when Chelsea were an almost team, same with Newcastle back in the old second division. But we had players who cared about the club, you know, Joey Jones, Mickey Thomas, Dixon, Speedy, Nevin. You know, there's a team of heroes to me. We would always fall at the last hurdle, but they cared about the club. Sorry?
Some good players.
Great players. But, you know, the club never aspired to the heights that it has now. But a lot of that is about that identity, and fans want to see players busting a gut, don't they? And they've seen that against Tottenham, and especially 2 weeks ago against Man City. That's what Pochettino has brought and instilled into the players. So I think you'll see, I'd say the difference I'm hoping you'll see from last season to this season will be night and day. And all the players that person mentioned, they've all walked the walk and they've gone. And I don't know one person who's sad to see any of them leave. It sounds very damning, but you saw the evidence last season. These were seasoned professional internationals who didn't fancy it. And Conor Gallagher, to your point, was the one kid who wears his heart on his sleeve in that side. And bust the gut, and that's what you want. That's all you want, isn't it? That's the first step in any sport. It doesn't matter if it's football, rugby, any team sport. That's the first step on the ladder. So
I see Conor Gallagher as like the Sean Longstaff of our team. That's where I see him, exactly where I see him. And you know, You know, he goes under the radar a lot. He's got a hell of a lot of assists actually this season, hasn't he?
Yes.
Was he 5 or 6 assists or something?
Yeah, I'm not suggesting you're as dull and boring as me, fellas. You're not. But if you get a minute, just check his stats. I think he's in top 5 leagues in Europe. Ball recoveries in the final third. He's top of the pile. He does a lot of unselfish work, sets the tempo. I think that's what you're referring to, isn't it? He sets that tempo. And he's become, again, he was a player in the summer, but we weren't sure whether he'd stay around. All of a sudden, Poch's got a tune out of him. Poch has got something out of him that he didn't think was there, I don't think. And that's what good coaches do. You know, and I think that's why Poch will work well with this group of players.
He's not a coward as well, is he? He'll always show for the ball.
Yes,
he'll always be there. If you look at the ball when you're playing, some of your players they don't want. I'm not saying I haven't seen enough of you this season to say anything. To be honest, but last season I noticed there was a distinctive lack of. You know, people. It was as if they were scared of the ball sometimes, and he was always showing for it, and that's what Longy does for us as well. You know, always.
Absolutely right. That's an absolute bullseye comment, and that's why none of those players that have gone. And these was again, you know, I'm not going to name names, but there were players who had won big things with Chelsea and decided they didn't fancy it when the going got tough. Well, sometimes the going gets tough in life, guys, doesn't it? You know, and that's when you show your true worth.
Yeah, that's very, very true. We've been there.
Yeah.
We've been there as well. We've been there. And I'll tell you what, we've got players who want to come out. That's it. If you don't want to play for the club, off you pop. I think the best keeper in the Prem is the Spurs with Vicario. Empoli. Cracking keeper, by the way. 39 shots he faced the whole of the season. Would you believe that? I think Pope is good. Go goalie, but fine, he can be very, very sloppy at times. We just discussed that, AJ. We just discussed that. And you know what? I mean, like people saying in the chat, kicking the ball out as well, because he's been told to kick it out as well. I don't know about anyone, but I'm worried about facing Chelsea in the cup, lads. I tell you what, that's going to be a tricky game when we do play them in the cup. But I'll be going to Chelsea as well. I'll be going if I can leave at 4 o'clock. And you know what, Paul? I'm looking forward to that game, but we are going to talk about it in future weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what both clubs put out for that game, because it will depend on where we are with injuries. And like we've already said, that Poch has got the pleasure of that there's no European football. So, you know, he might want to rest people, but he could get away with putting out nearly the first 11, and it's not going to make much of a difference. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, Chelsea have that joy of like, you know, he'll be able to think about like, what does he want to do? Does he want to rest people? Does he want to, because it gets you into the semi-final. So he might go pretty much first 11, where we'll probably go as, you know, we're probably going to go as strong as we can. So, you know, it'd be a really tough game. You know, it's a tough ground. We haven't got the best of records at Stamford Bridge when we go there, you know, because of our past, how terrible we've been in the past. So, yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, it would be a tough game because they'll want. You know, Poch wants the cup as well, and it's a good chance to get into a semi-final. With, do you know what I mean? Like when you think about the clubs left, you know, who's the biggest danger after that? Do you know
Liverpool,
when you think about it? Really, Liverpool. So it's, do you know what I mean? Who on their day, and I know Liverpool are a good team, but on their day they could be beat. So you know, Chelsea if Chelsea do get them in. You know, let's say they get to the final and it's Liverpool. You know, I'd still back us against Liverpool, and I'm sure Chelsea fans would, because you know Liverpool can be got at for definite. So it's a cup that it can be won. It's there to be won. So yeah, I think it'll be pretty much first 11 for Chelsea, because there's no reason for them to rest people, and then us will just have to see where we are with injury. You know, Dummett might be starting. You never know, and he'll just pull off another masterclass in defence.
I agree. The thing is, though, right, we'll probably have our players back as well. We've got another month to go. We have our players back.
Yeah, we'll probably look a bit more healthy, which would be nice.
Yeah. Good touch to Newcastle side in a minute, Simon. We got players out. I mean, hopefully Botman will be back. Hopefully Isak could be back. Longstaff could be out. You look at other players as well. Dan Burns out for a few more months. Harvey Barnes has come back into like training as well. we've been so unlucky with injuries this season. I mean, can you not put a finger on it? Or could it be too much games, too much competition as well? Because you need a bigger squad.
Right. Oh, blimey. Well, I'll rewind and bore you. 2 years ago, we demolished Juventus at Stamford Bridge 4-0 in the Champions League under Tuchel. That game, Reece James picked an injury up. Chilwell picked an injury up. Probably 2 months later, playing Wolves away, back 6 weeks, I think we could only field 15 players in the squad. It was unbelievable. It was like 13 players got injured in a short space of time, and it derailed us massively. I don't understand why, but if you look at the number of players that are getting injured now, a lot of people are saying it's too much football, the game is too intense. Who knows what the reason is? I think the pressure on getting players back not fully fit. You mentioned Isak. I think his weighs heavy because some of these players are big. He's a big player for Newcastle, isn't he? Look at Reece James. He's broken down so many times. People are saying he's made of glass. He's more likely made out of granite. But the problem is his body is being rushed back because he's so important to the club. So I think it could be a combination of things. But if you look around, there's lots of clubs are suffering major injury problems. We've had a ridiculous number of injuries for the last 2 seasons. And it hurts, doesn't it? It hurts you when you're in European competition. You're trying to bring players back. You're trying to juggle competitions. You're trying to get game time for players. It's very, very difficult because you get Isak back, pulls up again. He's out for 3 months. And these next 3 months are crucial for your season, aren't they?
I totally agree. And that's what we don't want. We just want to get players back fit, raring to go, and no more injuries as well. Because you can't find any more injuries, man. Because we need to get more players coming in either in January or in the summer, because we're playing for 4 competitions at the minute, and it could be every season. So we have to get more players coming through for each position as well, especially up front, because we need someone up front. Because you can't rely on Wilson and Isak up front, because you need 4 quality strikers at any given time. Otherwise, we are going to struggle. You have to play Anthony Gordon out position for the left side to up front as well. We don't want that as well. Get well, Suey and mate. There he's back. And you just take your time.
You have to go away and have a swear.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. do you guys honestly think we get into Champions League knockout? I was so confident, but I'm not so sure. For me personally, I take Europa League. Just don't keep it off PSG and we'll be fine. But yeah, you have to see what happens at 1AG. But this is a tough game opportunity. We're going to discuss that on a recorded show, because I'm off to Paris on Sunday. Paris on Sunday, by the way. So Ian, just talking about Newcastle a bit. Yes, We've got players out. Players are coming back in very, very soon. And are you still confident Eddie's being picked? Because I think you have a good team, but it looks like the subs is going to be mix and match again.
Yeah, like the first 11, I think, with the players that are allegedly coming back, because we don't actually know. The first team is we can play against anybody. What worries me is, like I said before, the likes of Isak coming back. Has he got 60 minutes in him, 70 minutes in him? If we keep him on for 80 minutes, does he break down? What you were saying before about needing 4 strikers, I disagree, because the way that we play, we need 3 central strikers, so centre forwards, and Isak's one of them. Obviously, Callum's one of them, but unfortunately, Callum's now at the point where Callum's not going to play 20 games a season. He just isn't. For me, I would want to keep Callum on because his goal per minute is as good as anybody, virtually anybody in European football. He could be, remember like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was for the Salford Reds. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Manchester Ununited, as I like to call them nowadays, the least united team.
I still call them United. I know I still get a lot of stick for it as well, but you go for it, man.
Yeah. No, I'll never give you stick for that. Yeah, I think that we need a proper centre forward in January, and unfortunately, that's, as we all know, is a really tough task to get a decent centre forward. But we do need them. Like Isak is perfectly capable of playing anywhere across the front three for me. You stick a football. He is that good a footballer. He could play on the right. We've seen him demolish teams on the left, like Everton when he ran around the whole team. Like didn't even get an assist for that. One of the greatest things I've seen in a Newcastle player do, and he never even got the assist, did he? Which is ridiculous. But we do need another striker, a proper striker as well. And Callum, I hope, will see the wood for the trees and realise, his body is breaking down, but he could be that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer super sub coming on 20 minutes ago, and he will bag goals. We've seen he does it, but he comes on when Isak's played 60, 70 minutes, and then he comes on and he does his thing. So yeah, does that answer your question? But if you're asking what you think we need player wise, I think in January we need a CDM, and there's a lot of talk about Calvin Phillips coming in, which I'm perfectly happy with. Like he when you look at how good he was for Leeds, there's no reason he won't be that good again. But he just needs to play, I think we need a right-sided centre back, and we need a striker. They're the key positions for me. 3 players.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's a fair shout. And transfer window sure is going to come on very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well. But I see your point as well. And Simon, I mean, if you was a manager, who would you pick on Saturday for the match?
Starting 11, I'd probably go for the same 11 that played Man City. And talk of Nkunku, I'd bench him. Start him on the bench. We've got options coming off the bench, but I just like the shape. I like the shape of the team. I like you talking about giving players minutes. Reece James has been given 60 minutes for that exact reason. Pochettino's doing the right thing. I wanted to see him on the pitch for 90 minutes, but he may be able to last 75 minutes, so he's not going to probably last the whole game. But we've got Gusto who can come on. The only issue we really have is centre back at the moment. We've got 5 not world class, but class centre backs. One of them, Fofana's out injured, back in training. Thiago Silva's going to play. Who's going to play with him? I played Badiashile. He's a phenomenal player. Colwell's slightly injured. He's played Sarzi as well. That's the only conundrum for me. Put Cucurella at left back. And the key for us, I think, is Raheem Sterling. He's so up and down for Chelsea as he is for England. I've seen him put in some dog performances this season against Man City. He was turning into Messi. He was just unbelievable.
I don't want to give you any more hope, but he's always been a pain in the backside against us as well. Sterling.
Okay.
Been a bloody nightmare against us in the past.
Well, that gives me a smidgen of hope. Thank you, mate. but for me, the kid that makes all the difference everyone's talking about is Cole Palmer. It's not because he's scoring penalties, but he's got this almost modest arrogance about him. Yeah. He's a very clever player, picks at pockets of space, lovely little killer balls through. I think with Nkunku, Jackson isn't a finished article. He's quick. He stretches defences, but he's not prolific, not like Isak in terms of his ability to finish chances. But I think there's a place for him in the team. So it's not the finished article yet, I don't think. But I would stick with the same 11. Just centre-back pairing, I'm not sure what he'd go for. And the problem is for this game is because there's injury concerns on both camps, no one knows which the starting 11 is going to be for each team, do we?
Yeah.
If Isak was playing, I'd play Badiashile or Colwell if he's fit, because we need that extra bit of pace in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But who knows? So I would stick with the
Badiashile. I think he'll play Badiashile. I think he's nailed on to play.
Yeah,
because even if Isak's not playing, then we're sticking Gordon up front, and he's absolutely electric, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's nailed on his playing.
Yeah, I think he will, because I think he's one of the first choices once Thiago Silva unfortunately hangs his boots up at some point, because the guy can't come on forever. But I agree with you. Badiashile is, for me, top notch. So I think Badiashile maybe for Zazi, and with the same 11 as against City.
Yeah, he's a good player, Badiashile. With Zofton, he's a cracking defender. And he's come a long way. He really has come a long way from Monaco. But he'll just get better and better and better. He's an absolute unit.
That's the one advantage having somebody like Thiago Silva at the club. Is not only for the fact that he is one of the greatest centre backs I've ever seen, but it's his influence off the pitch for younger players. You can't buy that, can you? That professionalism, to be able to play in the Premier League at 39 years of age is absurd.
He is class.
It's like Trippier for us, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's like Kieran Trippier for us.
Exactly. No, you're so right. And I think that's, I'm amazed he's performing at that level. And he's his own worst enemy, because I think most people don't realise he's 39.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know how old Wayne Rooney is, but you look at Wayne Rooney compared to Thiago Silva, it's like a different species. But he's playing at such an elite level.
I think that Wayne Rooney is a different species.
I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, silly. Oh, love it, man. Love it. Yeah, so guys, if you like what you watch, make sure you like and subscribe. And it's also live on Twitter, X, and Facebook platforms as well. So please do check it out. Hit the subscribe button if you are new as well. And a couple of I've missed. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks so much indeed. And lucky you enjoyed Paris. I can't wait to go there on Sunday as well. So I've got to be really careful as well. So as for Paul, Newcastle, hopefully you're going to get the players coming back. I think I mentioned that as well. But can you see Eddie just picking up an unchanged side and just do with it, and then just rest the players for Tuesday's game against PSG? Perhaps the players going to come back from injury.
No, I think Isaac starts 100%. I think Miggy starts. If Longstaff is fine, he starts. If Botman is anywhere near fine, I think Botman probably starts. I just think that's just what it will be, because we need him. I'm not being funny. I love, Gordon does a job up front, but I don't like him. I don't prefer him there. He's much more effective on the left, but we want him. Yeah. That's where he's more, more powerful, and where we need him. I just feel that I think if Isaac's ready, we'll play him. I just don't see him not. Obviously maybe not for the whole 90, because we can use Gordon in the middle for after 60 minutes or whatever. But yeah, if Isaac's ready to go, I think he's starting, because we need it. We need that. We need the help, because we just need we need points on the board, and we want people to be fit. So it's one of those things where if we don't play him, when's he going to get fit? So I just think that he's probably if he's anywhere near ready, he'd be starting, and he'll probably be starting against PSG. Poor lad's probably starting all of December because of Wilson being out. We're just in this predicament where one or the other just seems to be injured at the time. That's the problem. That's why Isaac got injured in the first place, because Wilson was out and he overplayed. He just played every game. He was playing every week, one game after the other. And I just think that the amount of games has caught up with him. And then Wilson gets knackered, and then we're like, what we doing? And then we're just sticking Gordon up top, hoping he can do a job, which he's done fine. But I don't prefer him there all the time, because I think we lack a bit of creativity with that. And against a better team like Chelsea, we can get away with it with teams who aren't as good. But with Chelsea, they're a very good side, and they can they've got good defense, and they will keep out someone who isn't a natural striker. Where Isaac is a bit more tricky and can get in behind, and I prefer that. So, and I think Eddie will want to win the game. So. Yeah, if Isaac's anywhere near fit, I can't see him not starting. I just think it just definitely will be. He will just try and go as strong as possible, because again, a win breeds confidence. That's what the point is. If you win against Chelsea Chelsea. You go to PSG with some confidence. Big if, but if we win there, do you know what I mean? Who knows? Then, you know, legs aren't as tired when you're winning. You know, the mentality is obviously there. So there's method to the madness. But we all know Eddie's like, he'll completely go against what I say, as always. And we'll play Nick Pope up front or something.
Yeah. 6'3" target man.
Yeah.
Wow. Why not? Why not? Probably if you're losing 1-0 the last kick of the game, then you can get up there as well. I think this league is as important or more so than the PSG game. Yeah, I could have to kind of agree. And Leslie agrees with you as well. Top four's priority as well. And especially after reading how important it is for FFP, bread and butter is the league. Yeah, totally agree as well. And you know what it is, right? I mean, I'll go to you, Ian, right? I mean, for me, if you win this game on Saturday, it's going to be so huge for Newcastle. They'll really be back in the top 4 race again. This is a massive game, right? I can see plenty of goals in this game. We're at home. And if you get Isa back, he can make a difference. And I think everyone's going to raise their game.
I think that we will be a lot better than we were in our last showing. Let's put it that way. A lot of the players have had a bit of a rest. I think the left back conundrum for us is key. I want to see him play Tino at left back, because what we lose when Trips isn't at right back, with the creativity and the way that Trips plays, we sort of lose that creativity. He can play left back and he can play fine, but at right back, the interchange, especially when you've got like Longy, if he's fit, Miggy and Trips together, like they just tie in perfectly. Bruno as well, obviously, you know, the triangles that they play and the fours that they play are lovely. Tino's got a good left foot. He has got a left foot.
Yes.
I know we've not really utilised him at left back much, but for me, I can see Tino left back being, obviously right back's his position, but being probably the best option because he's got that pace and he can run with the ball and he can cut inside. And then, you know, he can go down the outside and he can still get across. And it's not like Miggy, you literally can't kick the ball with his right foot. Tino can, you know. You know, and so I think that's actually probably one of the most important things in the game. And the other thing is, have we got the legs to last the full game out? Because I can see us playing well, but I can see us with the lads coming back from injury and the lack of depth in the bench, struggling late doors, 70 minutes onwards. But then we've got the likes of Miley to come on, who I know is 17 and everyone's don't want to put pressure on him and that. But Lewis Miley was the best central midfielder on the pitch for us in the last game. For me, he was our best midfielder. Doesn't matter if he's 17. He's got a face of a baby, but he's a big kid. He is going to be quality for us in the future. We don't want to overexpose him now. We don't want to put him in too much, but unfortunately, we haven't got that luxury at the moment. We haven't got any players, you know. Like we have literally got, you know. And what you're going to do, you know, do you put Richie on in central midfield, or do you put Lewis on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
John's one. Excuse me.
I've got that.
So yeah,
so much.
It's going to be an hard game, but I think it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. Chelsea, we always seem to we get on well with the Chelsea lads, the Chelsea fans as well. So it's always a good crack. It's not like, excuse me.
You're right. I was agreeing with you in that there's no. Every time I bump into Chelsea fans at St James's, they're always so complimentary, so really cool. Just saying that they wish us well. You know, I remember going to the 2-2 draw way back when, and they were just like, "I feel sorry for you having Mike Ashley there," and this horrible stadium with all the Sports Direct signs everywhere. They were like, God, it's just awful seeing St James's like this. They've always been sound with us. I remember at Lunchroom, like Mourinho was walking out of the back, and he was talking to some of the Chelsea fans, and he said to some of the Newcastle fans that he's still like a mini magpie because of his Bobby connection.
Yeah.
So Mourinho is really cool and stuff. So that was nice. So there's never any animosity or anything there. So I always wish Chelsea well, because, like I say, if the fans are good to you, we have like a positive outlook on them. So
well, it's always a good excuse for it's always a good excuse for a night out as well. So a lot of us are staying over as well. So
are you staying over?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have a beer. You never know your luck.
Yeah. As long as you're buying, mate. Last season it was like stayovers in Dortmund, Milan, and Madrid, and this season it's a stayover in Newcastle. I'm not slating Newcastle one bit, but it's a different ball game this season. Is for us.
You've struck gold, then, Simon.
Of course, it's the icing on the cake, isn't it?
Sorry.
Euros left. You take Euros up there.
I'll take
it. I'm back, guys. I do apologise, man. I do apologise there, but got your point as well, guys. I want to talk about Tom Cole Palmer. I mean, I'm mentioning him yet, Simon. Look, he's coming. Man City, 45 mil, right? This guy is taken like a duck on water. This guy, absolutely fun. I mean, Man City will probably one day live to regret selling this guy.
I don't think so. I think Man City players don't go out on loan, and he wanted game time. Yeah. He wanted game time because he believes in his own ability. I mean, that penalty against City, 95th minute, the first time ever, I may be getting on years, I felt like that player who was taking that penalty felt like my son. I felt physically sick for the kid because he just stood there with the ball for 3 or 4 minutes and he just knocked it in the top corner. Honestly, the sky could be the limit for the kid because, as I say, it's a mix of humble arrogance, if you know what I mean. He believes in his own ability, but you can see his footballing brain, and working under Pochettino, and he's the first name on the team sheet now, and that for the right sort of player, that'd actually bring more to their game, confidence, that arrogance. And yeah, I was very pleased when we signed him. I knew a bit about him, but if you consider that we got like 125 million for Havertz and Mount combined, we brought in 45 million. That's the sort of business I'm talking about, That's good business. But yeah, he's an exciting kid, and something about him I just like about him. He just doesn't. Nothing seems to faze him, Sometimes that's the arrogance of youth, isn't it?
I don't think it's arrogance. I think he's got like, as the young people say nowadays, he's got a bit of swagger on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can tell he's just confident in his own ability. And it's good. It is good to see. I just like, and I think that's where, like Miley for us, Miley's obviously a 17-year-old kid. He's still a kid, you know what I mean? But I think in the coming seasons, we'll see he's going to progress through and be obviously completely different players, but be that sort of player for us as well. And it's, I'm surprised City let him go.
It's just, I just think it was the game time. They couldn't guarantee game time for the kid, and I think he would have gone out on loan, but the City just don't loan players. And Guardiola said, "Okay, you can go." And there's an interesting article about an interview with him, and he was racking his brains for sort of a couple of days. He's been to the City since he was 6, lives in Wythenshawe, local lad. Go to London, big city. He said it took him a while to adjust, but I think the moves worked out well. And sometimes there's a saying, isn't there, fortune favours the brave? Mm-hmm. And I think because he felt that he could have a greater impact in a younger team, he wanted to take that opportunity. It doesn't always work out though, does it?
It's almost a bit like Joe Willock when, because Joe Willock was with Arsenal for so long, and then when he's got to make a decision whether he comes to Newcastle permanently or not, Yeah, it took a long time for him to decide, but I think he's probably thought, now it's happened and all that. He's probably, he looks much happier. Not he was unhappy at Arsenal, but he just looks a happier lad, and he's putting in some performances that are phenomenal. Like, he's showing how good he can be. Another one that, again, it's ridiculous, but another one that's obviously nowhere near Southgate's radar because he doesn't know anything. But he should be. He should be on his radar, but he's not.
But that's down to the ability for the manager to get something out of the player that other managers can't. It's no different than any other walk of life, is it? And sometimes look at Almiron and look at how Eddie Howe's transformed him.
Big Joe, Joe Linton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and I'm looking at Cucurella last season. I felt sorry for him. He was getting the bird. He was the player who was being singled out as the blame, as the scapegoat for everything wrong at Chelsea. All of a sudden, he's now the player that we saw at Brighton. Well, he's the same guy, different manager.
When he was at Brighton, I remember a game where he literally took us to the cleaners in a game, and then since then he went to Chelsea, and I was like, he was absolutely awful in the game against us. Yeah, and I was like, a lot of it boils down to confidence, and especially with Willett, with us, I know jumping back when he obviously didn't want to come to us, right? Let's be honest, because his heart was at Arsenal. Then he was with us, and he was lonely, and he was in the city centre. You probably don't know this, Simon, but he's in some flat. He had no one around him. He had no support from the management. Eddie Howe came in and said, "Right, this is where this is where I would suggest you live. This is that your peer group. The senior players all got around him, and slowly but surely he started to fit in more. And as soon as he's fitted in, he's just come back from injury. And I'm not being funny. His first game back from injury, I have never seen a player coming back from injury have such a good game. Like, he is very, very underrated for us. I'm the first person to put my hand up and say at times, I've slated him. And I've said, he just doesn't look, because he's that language stride that he's got and that, it doesn't look like he's trying. But even that now he's proper bought into it. And that's a brilliant thing about having, for us, and I'm not going to cry about it or anything, but like, we are so flipping lucky to have Eddie Howe as a manager. And that could be the way it goes having Poch for you,
Yeah.
And I hope it does, apart from when you play against us.
All top managers do the same, though. All top managers do the same.
Yeah.
All top managers. There's a famous quick story when Mourinho joined Chelsea. Lampard was having a shower. Mourinho walked into the shower. Lampard was naked and just said to him, "You are going to be the best midfielder in the world." And the rest is history. He upped his game that little much of a percent that made all the difference. And that's just the impact man management can have. Forget about tactics. It's just managing the human being.
Mm-hmm. But then when you talked about Lampard in the shower and went like that, it was a bit worrying.
Quality, man. Quality.
Sorry.
No, sorry.
I can get away with that.
I've got to go on this. I just want to comment a minute. I mean, get these comments coming in because I think it's a bit slow tonight. What's the game versus Chelsea when Jose made 3 subs, lost a player, and went on to win the game?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Which game was it?
Yeah.
I
can't remember myself. I know they made 2 subs against us and won the game with United, but
there was a game of one I remember was at Fulham when he hooked Joe Cole after 25 minutes. He always had a very tempestuous relationship with Joe Cole, but Joe Cole now sort of looks back and says he was the best manager ever played for. At the time, you don't see it, do you? I guess
you don't
a bit
see
later on. But all great managers get inside players' heads, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. Totally agree. But, they all say that, don't they? They all say that. Oh, it was at St. James's Park as well. But I'm not sure, Lester. I don't think I can remember that myself.
I can't remember that one myself, but it used to be that from time to time, it just hoik people off.
He does.
I remember a game where he pulled three players off at half time. I just can't remember which game it was now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
3 substitutions at the point. That was the point where you were only allowed 3 subs, and at half time took 3 players off.
Yeah.
But I cannot like.
Yeah, but that was him. He was very much his own man.
Exactly.
Do you think that's where some of the love from the Chelsea, Newcastle sort of like the fans get on? Do you think that's partially because of maybe the love between Mourinho and Sir Bobby?
Maybe. I think a lot of it for me goes back to, as I mentioned earlier, about those second division battles back in 1980 and the 80s when there was a Newcastle and Sheffield Wednesday fighting for promotion. Remember those times? And I think, you know, football was a bit different then for us old uns because you just pitched up and you went. And I think there's sort of a, you know, I don't know. Sheffield Wednesday are the same, I think. I think there's some sort of, it harks back to of days gone by. So I think there's some sort of connection for me going back to those games of yesteryear. You know, there was a YouTube video of the '84 game when it was 1-1. Terry McDermott scored for you, I think. I think Pat Nevin scored for us in the old second division. And I thought it was a fantastic memories, I think. So those things are sort of synonymous with getting older, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not as old as you then, Simon.
No one's as old. No one's as old as me. I've just come out of my oxygen tank.
Hey,
he was old as the hills, Simon.
Sorry?
You're as old as the hills, man. I think I was only like, what would I have been, 6 then? So
yeah, all right, show off.
Hey, let's go. What we're gonna do as well. We're going to talk quickly about the form guy and get a sort of prediction. We're going to close the show as well. And I think Newcastle has won 2, drawn 2, lost 2, and Chelsea are the same as well. So it's very, very tight. I mean, it's going to be a close game, and people's going to make activities. So I'll start with you, Simon. What do you think the scoreline is going to be on Saturday between Newcastle and Chelsea?
I'm not dodging this, but I think because there's certainly, as far as Newcastle is concerned, there's some question marks over what team they're going to put out. There's a couple for Chelsea still. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Cool. Paul, what about you, man?
Well, as you know, I'm always wrong. Always wrong. I haven't had one prediction right this season, so don't back mine. If Isaac is anywhere near fit and starts, I think we scrape a 1-0 with an Isaac goal, and then we just kind of, you know, take him off and just kind of protect it and just get one of those 1-0s over the hill. But yeah, that's my feeling of what might happen. But as you know, I'm always wrong.
I think you're wrong there as well, Paul. There's more than one goal in the game. Like for me, there's more than one goal in the game. I think it could be a proper game. It'll not be the same game as it was the 1-0 the last time. You know, like it just won't be. My heart is saying 3-2 to the tune, and I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-2 as well. I mean, Ben Yam's going 3-2. Gary's 3-1. Leslie hope Gary's correct. I'm going to go 3-2. I can see goals in this game. It's going to be a loads of goals in this game. I think our defense is going to be all over the shop, I think, in a minute. But we have a better defense, by the way. And Kunku could be a difference as well. Cole Palmer is going to be key. Those two players are going to be key. And
I think you put them in it, John, where like it could literally, you know, like it could go anywhere. There's game changes on both teams, you know, and I just hope it's as good a game as I think it's going to be, because I think it could be one of the best games of the season.
And also, both teams are going to play on the front foot, guys, as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to go either way. This game's going to go either way. I hope it goes our way. And if you just defend properly, we'll win the game. So I'm going 3-2 for me as well. I think we play well and create loads of chances. Crowd we were up for this game big time. I totally agree. 110% there. And Gary's been the Les. And don't forget to hit the likes. Thank you very much indeed, Les, as well. So, yeah, so the game's at St. James's Park on Saturday. Kick off at 3 o'clock. I'm afraid I'm not going to be here because I'll be off to Paris the very next year as well. So we're going to wrap the show up there, guys. We've been over for an hour tonight. And thanks to the chat as well. So, Sam, where could you find you on your socials, man? And so people can find you.
At Rich Kirby, SIRICHKIRBY on X, or do you still call it Twitter? I don't know.
Well,
and
anything really.
really,
I'll call it X, I guess.
I'll not say what I call it.
Yeah, okay. No swearing still, please.
Yep.
And Instagram at Simon Richard Kirby. But I do a lot on Twitter, not Instagram. But anyway, so that's where I am. If somebody wants to come and give me dogs.
Well, I'm not going to give you dogs, mate. I've got too much respect for you, Simon. You know that.
Oh,
I'm getting all emotional.
Top guest.
He is silly. What a guy. Very cool. Very calm. And biased as well. Unbiased. Sorry. Did I say unbiased? Yeah, I did. Unbiased. So, sorry, Simon.
You're after a drink in London for me, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't drink alcohol, so you can have mine as well.
That was always the plan.
I love you.
Thank you, Les. Congrats on that. Thank you. Thanks to Simon. Thank you, Gary, as well. And in chat as well, if you want to find me, Ian is on Facebook, Ian Sutcliffe, or Ian2 Trader. And Paul, you can find him on Blank Canvas PC on Twitter. And it's got underneath, it's Jerry's fault as well. I'm going to do a little content in a bit or tomorrow.
Jimmy Carragher. What a pleb he is. What an idiot.
Why did he come and say that? I just don't get it.
Finish the show before I talk about Carragher, or else the
Yeah, definitely. It's a good idea. It's another time. So, guys, if you like the video, I'll run you guys backstage. If you like the video, like what you watch, make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, I see you in the next one. And by the way, I'll be in Paris on Sunday. I'll be doing my contents from Monday and on Tuesday at the Parc de France. And should be a good few days for me. So keep your eyes peeled. And as always, I just see you back in the next one.